It's official. Joe Biden has dropped out of the presidential race in the US. He's instead endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris, who will most likely be the Democratic Party candidate going up against Donald Trump.
Kamala, I call her Laughing Kamala. You ever watch her laugh? She's crazy. You can tell a lot by her laugh. No, she's crazy. She's nuts.
There's plenty of drama taking place across the pond, but what does this all mean for the EU? Let's say Kamala Harris is the Democratic candidate. What could change for Europe if she does win the election? Well, to be honest, not all that much. Her foreign policy ideas are, unsurprisingly, very close to Biden's. She's told Europeans that America would remain committed to leading the free world in terms of security. Isolation is not security, Harris told European leaders at the Munich Security Conference in February. America will continue to lead. Europe is still very reliant on American defense spending for protection. And with the threat of Russia looming over the horizon in Ukraine, security has become a bigger talking point than ever. Meanwhile, Trump has threatened to pull the US out of NATO and let Russia do whatever the hell they want to countries that don't pay their 2% GDP share. So European leaders will be relieved to hear that Harris wants to keep the US support for Ukraine flowing. But are her odds of beating Trump any better than Biden's? Only very slightly. Overall, she's got around the same chance against the former president. Harris isn't exactly a popular figure, and she's been kept out of the limelight for much of Biden's presidency. That's why some pundits have been floating the idea of putting forward a different candidate in November. Even Barack Obama himself has called for an open primary, where every candidate has the chance to step up to the plate. Gavin Newsom, current governor of California, Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, are the favorite alternatives. Their policies on Europe would likely be similar to Biden and Harris, but they don't seem to do any better than Harris in the polls, so they most likely won't make the cut. In our eyes, the better question is, who will Harris pick as her vice president? Nominating Whitmer would give her an edge in Michigan, a vital swing state. And if they win, it wouldn't only be the first time a female becomes US president, but also the first time a duo of both president and vice president are women. But someone like Beshear might be better suited for winning over conservative voters, as he won a second term as governor of Kentucky, a deep red state in 2019. The right vice president, though, might increase her chances against Trump, especially in vital swing states. Speaking of vice presidents, let's talk a little bit about Trump's vice president pick going into the next election, J.D. Vance. Vance in office would be even more bad news for the EU-American alliance, as he said multiple times that he supports a much more isolationist approach. Vance is sympathetic to Viktor Orban, attacking the EU for freezing funds to Hungary when the Prime Minister vetoed European support to Ukraine. He's also been highly critical of any US aid to Ukraine, believing that the US would do better to keep out of the war entirely. But it goes even deeper. Vance once called the UK an Islamist country, claimed Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk arrested his political opponents, named Italian Prime Minister Meloni a catastrophe, and called Germany's energy policy idiotic. Safe to say, he's not the biggest fan of Europe. This might not mean all that much though, since Vance doesn't have the best track record of keeping his word. His appointment as the VP pick cost quite a steer. Before the nomination, he called Trump an idiot, reprehensible, and described himself as a never-Trumper. And now, all of a sudden, Vance is running as Trump's closest ally. So who knows if he means what he says about Europe. Vance won't be president, but it does show the kind of rhetoric we can expect from Republicans should Trump win the 2024 election. Considering the differences with Harris's pro-EU stance, you can see why this race is being watched so keenly by Europeans. What do you think about Biden's decision to drop out? Do you think Kamala Harris would be a good president? And do you think it's hurt or helped the Democrats' chances of winning? We want to hear what you think, so leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And consider signing up to Patreon if you want to support us further. Until next time.